look, my kids are going to be entrepreneurs. My kids are going to be digital marketers. My kids are going to be building brands online. Like, if that is the state of the world, that's what they're going to be doing. They're not going to be getting a college degree. I don't see that in their pathway. So I'm just going to start working on the things for them that I see as valuable now. Learning, studying. To me, you got to be a team with your kids. You know, it's you got to treat them as adults as early as possible. You know, we do this for the children. We work hard for children. Maybe not everyone's on that mindset. Family first methodology. And I'm talking about your primary family, not your cousins. I mean, cousins are cool. I like my cousins. I'm not against my cousins. I'm just saying, it's you and your private family. It's you and your wife. It's you and your husband. It's you and your kids. And the world is in a state of war. I mean, don't forget that. And don't just think it's one kind of war. There's multiple wars on the fronts. There's war of information. There's war of drugs. There's war in guns. There's war of food. There's war of corporation. There's war of censorship. There's a lot of different battles being fought. And so that's why it's really important to be tapped into your children and managing their lives and protecting them from a lot of the foolishness that they can get attached to. And that's the thing, is that when the money of life is going up, you have to be able to match that as a man. And if you're here as a woman, good for you. But primarily as men, we need to be ready to match the times. I think our fathers and our grandfathers, they don't know such a thing. If your father or grandfather is an entrepreneur, lucky for you if they've even passed anything down to you. I got zero. They weren't entrepreneurs, or my grandpa might have been, but he never passed anything down to me. So, when people just had to focus on their jobs, it's just a completely different mindset. And it's like, well, I can't raise anything. I can't increase I'm going to get a raise of 2%. That's it. You really have to understand right now that you need a lifestyle design, a career design that's going to allow you to navigate the coming times that are going to be financially challenging. And if you want to have children, double it and then take away all your time. It's unbelievable how much time is erased with children. It's not a negative thing. It's just so surprising that you're without children and you think, wow, I'm so busy. It's a laughing stock. To think you're busy without children, it's just a joke. But that's what people convince themselves. And I don't want to be judgmental or anything. I just find that very humorous. And it was in my own experience that I observed, wow, that time, how much did I waste just not realizing what I had? Nonetheless, here we are today trying to make a comeback on YouTube, as I was saying, like, how do I find the time for the deep work? And I'm going to have to just make some changes. I'm going to have to let go of certain things. I'm going to have to sacrifice certain ideas that I believe in. But look, my kids are going to be entrepreneurs. My kids are going to be digital marketers. My kids are going to be building brands online. Like, if that is the state of the world, that's what they're going to be doing. They're not going to be getting a college degree. I don't see that in their pathway. So I'm just going to start working on the things for them that I see as valuable now. Learning, studying. To me, you got to be a team with your kids. It's you got to treat them as adults as early as possible. Will you homeschool? Absolutely. We call it unschooling. So unschooling is the new thing. It's going to be very difficult. It's very time consuming. Unschooling is a version of homeschooling where you don't really focus on curriculum. You sort of take the approach that let children tell you what they're interested in and use that to foster an educational experience. If your child is interested in trucks, focus on the colors of the trucks. If your child is interested in numbers, how can you play a game where there's numbers? It's that simple. But it's a very flexible approach. It's a very observe and see. And it's about not pushing kids into any one direction. It's trying to step back from maybe the tiger mom, the obsessive parent. But look, like I said, just because I'm unschooling doesn't mean I don't try to breed a champion. I encourage excellence, and I'm also very lenient. I don't believe at this age, it's time to train. I believe discipline is important and we do strive for behavior, but like, I take my kid to the driving range 3 to 4, sometimes 7 times a week. I just let him hit 20 to 40 balls and we're gone. I don't say a single thing. I don't try and do one thing. Maybe I hit 2 or 3 and that's it. I don't force golf on him, you know, because I don't care. I mean, would I like him to play golf? Sure, I like golf. Great. But it doesn't really bother me, you know? But if they like it, well, then you have to kind of figure out a way to foster it, you know? So, yeah, I think it's all in alignment, right? Like, you work remotely so that you can enjoy your life and maximize your financial benefits. Primarily, I'm talking about tax residencies, things like that. I'm sorry for Americans who don't get some of the same benefits. You know, owning your own business is a tax strategy to begin with, right? If you bought a new iPhone this year, if you bought a new MacBook this year, if you took an educational course this year, if you bought my course, if you don't have a business, you pay the full price on all those items. If you have a business, you put those items through your business. If you made money, you won't pay tax on that money in equivalence to what you spent, right? So if you made $10,000 and you have $10,000 of electronics that you bought that you would naturally buy anyways, new computer, iPad, iPhone, whatever, 4K, whatever that is, like if you made 10K and the iPhone stuff cost you 4K, you only pay tax on the 6K. If you didn't have a business, you pay the price of those items, but you just pay the maximum tax on your salary. So starting a business is the first step to gaining some of these advantages. And ownership is where all the advantages are in life. Look, there's organizations who don't believe you're gonna own very many things one day. And I can see why that is, because it's expensive. It's hard to maintain things. People prefer to rent. People prefer to lease. People prefer to use a little bit and then not have it. People don't want to pay for storage. I get that. And I sometimes suspect that that's why we should try and do the opposite. That we should do everything in our possibilities to own whatever we can. And if I was you, I would look at the real estate in my region, and if it's viable, I would consider owning real estate. But what I observed as I was born in Canada is it's not viable. You can't just invest in a condo anymore and have that cash flow. Plus, it turned out a lot of condos were really crappy and needed tons of maintenance costs. So real estate in the physical form may not be something you can own. So what are your options? What are some good things that you should own if you can't get real estate? What else could you get? This is a financial IQ question. You can't buy real estate for whatever reason. What other vehicles could you consider? And the reason I'm bringing up is because I told you that there's organizations who don't want you to own or don't think you will own. And then we have companies like BlackRock who's seemingly buying up all the property, which I don't understand why. They just talked about a Bitcoin ETF. Are they going to buy all the Bitcoin too? Okay, so that's one thing you can own, Bitcoin. That's the only coin I recommend for most people. Bitcoin is an incredible, finite resource, which will hold its value. I'm pretty confident. I bet most of my life on it. The majority of my net worth is related to Bitcoin, and it's been a very difficult 2-3 years. It's been very difficult. But as you just saw, I believe JP Morgan, or who was it, put out an analysis recommending 84% exposure to Bitcoin in your portfolio based on its past history. So just so you know, when Bitcoin gets to 100K, like, your buddy Rich will be all right. If it ever gets there. I believe it will. I believe we're on the verge of a bull run. I would love to look at some charts. I haven't looked at charts with my audience for a long time, and I do think there's a couple interesting things to look at. The timing of certain things that we're in right now, maybe we will. Okay, if you liked that video, give it a thumbs up so you get more of it in your feed from Rich+Niche, and I hope you're subscribing to the channel by now. Leave me a comment below if you've got questions, but if you want to watch the full live stream where that clip just came from, it's up here. I linked it for you directly. And for those of you who are just beginners, who need something a little bit more foundational and just found me for the first time, I highly recommend this video here, one of our more popular videos to get you started. See you guys in the next video.